Well, everyone, thank you. I know this was very last minute, so I'm so happy that Romeo Dallaire, General Dallaire, could be here for a few minutes today. He's in Port Elgin this evening to give a talk at the Unifor Center. So it's just great that he could spend a bit of time. 4 years ago, he came and campaigned with me in Huron Bruce.
Yes.
And we had a great time. I've had the pleasure of introducing him at a number of events, and I always describe him as my favorite living Canadian, after my mom. Yes. But,
That's close.
just a remarkable personality. What I was so struck by, we first met when I was a journalist, when I was a reporter, and what I was so struck by, once I finally tracked him down and got a chance to talk and introduce myself, was just how open and transparent Romeo was about everything, about the experience in Rwanda, about the experience after Rwanda. And we had the occasion to travel together 2 or 3 times to Africa. We always sort of had an agreement that whenever Romeo went back to Rwanda, I would be with him. And it wasn't a given that that would happen, because we were going back on the 10th anniversary in the context of a film project. They were making a documentary. And I think Romeo leaned on the film producer to allow me to come. And if I carried a tripod every now and then to make myself useful. And we had a fantastic time. But it was just remarkable to me to be there and to see you in that context. It takes a lot of courage to go back to places like that, to go back in your life. And since then, you've been going forward in your life. And what's been just such a thrill in the last few years to see you again from time to time, and having seen you from time to time over 20 years. And now just to see you going forward and living your life and enjoying your life. And literally today, I fully expected, so Romeo started the day in Halifax, flew to Toronto, got off the plane, into a car, literally straight to Port Elgin, and we picked him up about a minute later when he arrived in Port Elgin. And when I saw you, I thought you might look like you did that morning in Paris when I met you on the way to Sierra Leone, when you just come off a flight and you were really tired. And you just stepped out and looked completely refreshed and 10 years younger than the last time I saw you. So, you must be doing something right.
It's called love.
Well,
I'm actually falling in love with a lovely lady that has given me the desire to keep on living and advancing, and it's been an extraordinary new way of life. And so I'm very thankful for that. But this time is something special, because there's enough gray hair here to remember the Vietnam War and how the media were considered part of the enemy force. Remember Jane Fonda and Hanoi and stuff like that. And so militaries and media were at odds in a very, very brutal way in those days. And in Rwanda, the only thing that I had left, because nobody was sending me any troops or anything, was the media to shame the world and so on. So I changed my attitude, but Allan was a person who reinforced that, because we could talk, and if we wanted something embargoed, it was respected. If we wanted to get into the deep of the subject, we could. And we built confidence in each other. And so I enjoyed very much being, not grilled, but being held accountable. And that's what you want the media to do, is to hold you accountable in front of the population and what you do. And it was done fairly, and you were getting good press from the start at the time. They were very receptive to things. And when we were there in 2004 together with that film crew, that film actually won an Emmy and was quite a significant success at Sundance with Robert Redford and the team, and then of course at TIFF. But every time I was going back for the tribunal to testify, Allan came, so that this young man, and we grew a relationship that you want to have when you trust someone. Particularly if the person has an ability to project you either positively, negatively, or so on. And so you want the story to come out, but you also want to have confidence that you're getting a fair shake. And he was able to establish that with me and with others, even Jean Chrétien. But when he decided to go to politics, the last election, I was here for a couple of days with you, it wasn't so much a surprise because he'd been in the Ottawa press gang and so on and around and outside of the country, not only inside. And so it seemed like a good extension of a career to actually, well, you get your boots dirty now inside and you join the game and see what you can do about it because you know so much about the background. And I think that's not necessarily always understood, that journalists gain a lot of insight into the political elite and the political functioning and the government functioning of our country. And I think that often the newspapers don't give them a chance to really go beyond the simplistic everyday type of sensationalism. But the other thing is that we don't necessarily recognize that if you're picking up somebody with that background, then you're not picking up an amateur who's going to do his first foray into the House of Commons or even the Senate, but you've got somebody with depth, somebody who can sniff out things, who can also know what door to knock on and how to influence the party because he's seen it from the other side. Allan moving to that gives this riding a step up from somebody who's interested and is there, but really is satisfied by being a backbencher. There's no way in hell he'll let the party make him a backbencher. Unless they really want some bad press. And so you've got what we call a force multiplier. This is that not only you get an MP, but you get an MP with the smarts to know how to maneuver and to get stuff through a system within a party. And so you can influence policies and you can influence locally instead of hoping for scraps off the table. The only problem we'll have with him is how to stop it. So, I mean, I used to be called the Energizer Bunny, but I think he gives me a real run for the money. So we've had good times, and I appreciated it the last time I was received and so on. I still think you should have sort of marketed your shepherd's pie and might have bought a few more 1,000 votes with that. Because it's outstanding.
That is his favorite food, by the way.
Yeah,
that and jujubes. Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking time to come here and meet some of my family and my friends.
Allan, you're a good man. You come from a good family, a good community, good churches and schools and values, and you've never wavered, even though gone through some pretty tough times as a journalist in the past. And that has gained my respect, and many others, of course. And you got a good pen. So you got smarts, you got guts, you're not afraid of taking on big guys. You got a good pen to explain it, and credibly and ethically. Nothing like giving a guy a job.